Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new episode of Max Talks Box Office. Here at Max Talks Movies, my name is Max Dinenberg. Today, I'm breaking down the box office of this past weekend, the final technical month in the box office in the month of February, which was February 27th to March 1st, 2026. We're also going to look at the movies that are hitting theaters this weekend in theaters. We're also going to let you know my videos that are hitting the channel. So welcome back to Max Talks Box Office here at Max Talks Movies. If you guys are new, please hit that subscribe button. We are growing so quickly. Join Max Talks Movies. I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, out of theater reactions, movie franchise rankings, award show videos, and I do this video every single Monday or Tuesday. So please subscribe, ring the bell if you're new. Comment down below. What are your thoughts on this past weekend's box office? What is your reasoning for the success of Scream 7? What's it to see this past weekend in theaters? What are you going to see this upcoming weekend in theaters as well? And also, guys, please hit that thumbs up button. So let's get into this past weekend's box office, which was, as I said, February 27th to March 1st, 2026. And in first place this past weekend was obviously Paramount's Scream 7. And there had been a lot of backlash for this movie for years now after the firing of Melissa Barrera due to her posting multiple social media posts about her pro-Palestine beliefs. And that led to then Radio Silence leaving the project. That led to Jenna Ortega leading the project. Then Spyglass hired Christopher Landon to take over directing. He was getting multiple death threats over becoming the new filmmaker of the franchise. He then chose to leave the project, and they went back to the well. Neve Campbell, who was not in Scream 6 due to money issues. Got a $7 million paycheck for this movie. They brought back Kevin Williamson, who's the original writer of the first movie and of the first four films. Films 1, 2, and 4, to come back and not just write, but also direct this movie. This movie cost $45 million to make, which was easily the most expensive film of the franchise, but it made $63 million in its opening weekend. As I'm talking to you guys on a Tuesday, the movie has already grossed $100 million worldwide so far, and this is easily the biggest domestic opening weekend in the history of the Scream franchise, which beats the previous film's record, which was Scream 6 back in 2023, which opened to $44.4 million. So unbelievable that the critic scores have been horrible for this movie. The audience scores are not good for this movie either. It has been at least on social media, been a lot of boycotts for this movie. That doesn't seem to materialize into actual real people because $63 million is a phenomenal opening weekend for Scream 7. This franchise, which has never grossed, by the way, over $200 million worldwide. Funny enough, the highest grossing film of the franchise is still Scream 1 back in 1996. Even though it opened to only $6 million, it got to 173 worldwide. Scream 2, a year later in 1997, got to $172 million. And then the next best is Scream 6 at $169 million. So we'll see. It's already now $73 million away just to become the highest grossing Scream film of all time. I am most assured that Scream 8 is probably going to happen. And I think Neve Campbell, who got a $7 million paycheck for Scream 7, could be in line for a $10 million paycheck for Scream 8. Clearly, those Melissa Barrera fans were not going to, and the boycotting based on that did not hurt this movie whatsoever. Jenna Ortega not being in this movie didn't hurt this movie. Clearly, when people want to watch a Scream movie, it has to have obviously Neve Campbell and then Courtney Cox as well. But most importantly, Neve Campbell seems to be the person moving the needle from a box office perspective of her coming back to the franchise. She was barely used in Scream 5. That movie got to 138 worldwide. The last one, as I said, it was the highest grossing opening weekend, 44 million, but it's the third overall for the franchise, and she was not in it. And the fact that this got a massive boost. Again, horror is a big deal, and especially if you're a horror film that turns into an event. My theater had clapping and cheering throughout the entire film. I've heard a lot of other stories out there from people in the business that when they saw the movie, it was also a packed theater with a lot of screaming and clapping and things of that nature. So it turned into an event. Now the question is, with such bad word of mouth, will it hurt Scream 7 in its second weekend? It does have some competition in animation as well as a quasi horror movie. We'll talk about that at the end of this video. But I think Scream 7, no matter what, is thrilled with these numbers. The fact that it's already made 63 million in its opening weekend, it's already up to 100 worldwide. Unbelievable for Scream 7, even with all of that backlash. At number two this past weekend was GOAT in its third weekend, only dropping another 29%, $12 million for GOAT. 73 million is the number for GOAT domestically. It's up to 131 worldwide. These are good numbers. GOAT is a solid hit for Sony. Its drops have been excellent the last 2 weekends. So again, this movie is not breaking the doors down, isn't going to be one of the most successful films when we look back at the year. But for animation, again, animation and horror are the two genres that are doing or family films and horror are the two genres that are doing unbelievable numbers at the box office consistently. We just had Zootopia 2 dominate the box office. We have another one in GOAT. We'll see, though, if GOAT can continue its success. Again, it's going up against a new Pixar movie. So we'll see if we're being overcrowded with animated movies. We shall see. But 12 million in a third weekend for this movie, I think, is extremely, very, very good. Wuthering Heights is in its as well in its third weekend, dropping 52%. It made another 6.7 million domestic, 72 million is where it's at right now in its domestic total. Wuthering Heights is up to $192 million for its worldwide gross. 200 million is the break even for Wuthering Heights. So again, I think a lot of people thought this movie could be the first big event movie of 2026. That did not end up working out for Wuthering Heights. Now again, this movie is going to be far from an embarrassment. It's going to make its at least break even at the box office, and it'll make its more cherry on top money, as they say, when it gets to PVOD and streaming. It's a Warner Brothers movie max down the line. But I think Warner Brothers probably thought this would be a much bigger movie, but the word of mouth, another movie, not great word of mouth, especially from the book readers, really despise this movie. But I don't think this hurts the careers of Robbie or Lordy. It only helps because this movie is far from an embarrassment. At number four this past weekend, we have two concert movies wrapping up the top five. 21 Pilots, more than we ever imagined. Their concert movie from Mexico City was in IMAX this past weekend and it opened to $3.7 million. As I continue to say, concert movies are now becoming more of a thing. We're seeing two elements of what theaters are showing in theaters. We've seen re-released anniversary movies hit theaters and get into the top five. We've also seen concert movies over the last year and a half get into the multiplex. Very interesting that we're now seeing a lot more of these concert movies in theaters, not just and also doing well. So again, 21 Pilots, not even a band that's on my radar for the most part. The fact that it got $3.5 million just shows you the potential, I think, for other artists to put their concerts in theaters. And wrapping up the top five this past weekend was the Elvis concert movie, Epic, which was directed by Baz Luhrmann for Neon. It made $3.5 million. It's already been in theaters last weekend, but it just got, it was only in 300 theaters last weekend. It got up to nearly 2,000 theaters this past weekend, so that's why it got such a high gross. Again, Baz Luhrmann, Elvis, people are saying, especially diehard Elvis fans, that might be the best biopic ever for Elvis Presley. This movie did also very well. Also, Epic played in IMAX theaters as well. So these concert movies are taking advantage of not just movie theaters, but the extra mile. If it's Dolby, if it's IMAX, any of those, it's taking up those theaters as well. Let's move into, it is the beginning of March, as I usually do at the beginning of every month. I set the stage for the month of March and bring you and tell you every movie that's hitting theaters upcoming March. So, hitting theaters, guys, this weekend, we have two big movies. The Bride is hitting theaters this weekend. That's a new film directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, starring Jessie Buckley and Christian Bale. Obviously, we just saw Frankenstein a couple months ago on Netflix. We'll see if Warner Brothers and The Bride can do its success. Again, they're going to be riding the Jessie Buckley train. She's the clear frontrunner for the Oscar. Does that help boost this movie whatsoever? We shall see. And then Pixar has a new movie hitting theaters, Hoppers. It is their first of two movies. Toy Story 5 will be hitting theaters in the summer. But Hoppers, their one original movie of the year, is also hitting theaters this weekend. Next, we get two other movies hitting theaters. We have Reminders of Him. This is now the third movie based on Colleen Hoover's famous novels. This one's hitting theaters next weekend, stars Micah Monroe and Tyreek Withers. And also a horror movie, Undertone, which has had some excellent trailers in front of some of the horror movies over the last couple of months. It is also hitting theaters next weekend, March 13th. The biggest movie of the month is March 20th, which is Project Hail Mary, which a lot of people are saying could go down as one of the best movies of 2026. Directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, starring Ryan Gosling. Will Project Hail Mary deliver, both from an audience perspective and a box office perspective? We're going to see. Ready or Not 2 is also hitting theaters that same day, March 20th. That comes from the Radio Silence directors who left Scream 7. They did this after leaving the project, sequel to their most successful horror movie. We'll see if Ready or Not 2 will do well. And then ending the month, we have a couple horror films as well. If They Will Kill You, which is the big movie towards the end of the month, starring Zazie Beetz, before we get Super Mario on April 1st. So not a lot of big movies hitting theaters this weekend. I have a lot of videos, guys, hitting the channel. Yesterday, you got my early review for Hoppers. That movie's hitting theaters Friday, but I already saw it this past weekend. I have an early review for you guys out already. Tomorrow, you're going to get a breakdown of the SAG Awards. I'll break down the SAG Awards and what it means for the Oscars, which is coming up very soon. Thursday, you're going to get my out-of-theater reaction for The Bride. Friday, you'll get my full review for The Bride. And then Saturday, you get my review for the brand new Netflix movie War Machine. And then back here on Monday for another box office breakdown show.